I look at it as a treasure to be different. Wherever you're from, I'm Armenian, and we may be a small country, but we're all over the world, and we've contributed so much to society that I would love you to know a little bit about us. I'm a contemporary art advisor. I opened my own company called Agopian Incorporated. After 20 years of working within the gallery and the auction world, I felt it was time to fulfill my passion and work with collectors internationally in advising them to put together contemporary art collections of lasting value and legacy. It's a dream I've always had and very happy to be fulfilling now. Art, especially contemporary art, has always been a passion for me. It's sort of in my blood, something starting, I guess, from my grandparents, really, always expounding upon us as young children, the importance of being creative, of thinking outside the box, of knowing you can do anything you set your mind to. For me, art was about challenging myself, exposing myself to different types of artists from around the world, different thematics, different aesthetics, looking at how culture or history has really informed artists in different movements. Whether it's in my professional life, in my personal life, being an Armenian is everything that I'm about. As children or grandchildren of genocide survivors, we are survivors, but we're so much more than just that. My grandfather, had always instilled in us as young children that we can do anything we put our minds to, that we are not, as Armenians, just survivors. We push ourselves to succeed, but always doing it. And I remember this so clearly. He said, with pride and with a smile, because your wisdom and your kindness will always propel you forward in a very successful way. I think there's so much that we've learned from the survivors of the genocide of 1915. The most telling for me is how humble they were, as how kind they were, as how normal they were, and how they never let their history and the difficulties and the atrocities that they've undergone and experienced just define them. They broke that. They didn't just appease themselves with being survivors. They wanted to be people who succeeded, who rose past those difficulties and made something, not just of their lives, but of families and legacies which meant something. My grandfather, Arakal Medzbaba, was orphaned at the age of 4 from the genocide, and he created a life for himself that we today are still so proud of. He had no family and no schooling. He became the eyes for a blind man in Turkey, and that's how he got himself through some of the genocide and then ended up in an orphanage. As a child growing up in America, to hear these stories, it's like a movie, it's a dream. You can't imagine that the man you call Medzbaba actually endured something like this, and he's not bitter. He's proud and he's happy, and he goes about life with a smile on his face because he surrounds himself with love and family. That, for me, is the biggest gift, a life lesson that anybody could give. And for that, I'm eternally grateful to my grandfather. My grandfather passed away a few years ago, but we share so much about the essence of who he was, especially with our children. He taught us through his actions. You can never be bitter about what happened. You can learn from it. You can internalize these challenges and grow from them and go forward. So keeping his legacy alive is just part of who I am. Now, as a mother, it's so important to me to carry these same traditions on with my own children, that we speak Armenian at home, that we eat our food, that we learn our dances and our music, and we know so much about our heritage. It's our duty as Armenians, because if we don't do it, who will do this? It is the essence of who we are as people.